Just talking? Well, what's the show about? About nothing.
All right. Welcome back to the Strange Noise podcast, everybody.
Hello.
What's up, guys?
Thanks,
and gals.
Oh, yeah. No. Party people.
Family.
Party people.
Oh, there you go.
Welcome in, party people.
Party people. Folks.
Yeah. Hello, neighbors.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, all your strangers who came back.
Yep.
Surprised you're here, but
Not surprised at all. We're cool friends.
we try to be.
We're cool peoples.
But thank you for being here. And the rundown of the episode.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good episode we got for you.
Ooh.
We're going to start off with the music we've been digging for the week.
Yeah.
Just gonna give you some, other than the music breaks. If you're only listening to the audio, we have music breaks where we play songs. But if you don't catch that, we're gonna actually give you a little taste of the glory.
Mhm.
You're gonna see what it tastes like.
And then we're gonna talk about recent music news surrounding Deftones.
Yep.
They parted ways with their longtime bassist. We're giving our thoughts. It was a listener suggestion.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Paul.
thank you. And then we're gonna dive into. We all finally finished the Kanye West documentary.
Yes, we did.
What is it? Jeen-Yuhs, right?
Genius.
Genius.
We're actually gonna have to split that up into two parts.
Yeah, it's a big topic, and we got a lot of shit to say.
So yep. Without further ado, let's get into it. So let's see what have you guys been digging for the week?
Yeah.
Digging. I actually found something pretty interesting. I didn't realize this, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers just released a 2-song drop.
Oh yeah, because they're gonna be releasing an album pretty soon, right?
That's what I'm thinking, because there's just 2 tracks. But yeah, dude, one of the songs is really good. It's called Poster Child. It's really good.
Is that the
Fucking
newer one?
Super like jazzy.
Ooh, because I think I heard one of them. I can't remember what's the other one called. Do you?
Black Parade.
Yeah, that's the one I heard.
Like that.
Yeah, I think that's the one I
Black
heard.
Summer.
Yeah,
Black Summer's the other
I was
one.
like, Black Parade, isn't that a fucking
Yeah,
or at least an
no,
MCR
Yeah.
cover. But yeah,
It's Black Summer. It was Black Summer. Yeah.
I heard that one. It's okay. I wasn't digging that one, but I want to hear the other one to see
Yeah.
what I'm digging.
Poster Child's good. Initially, when I heard it, it came through a random playlist. It was so funky that I had to stop what I was doing, and then I checked out to see who the artist was, because
you started dancing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, dude, okay, but Flea's killing it.
Ooh,
The
dude.
bass line is just amazing.
Fucking bass.
I wonder
It's real
if
good.
I feel like Flea's like an underrated musician sometimes. Like I feel like he's got a lot of respect.
He's got a ton of respect, but like then overall, a lot of bassists are
You're right.
underrated.
Just
And
bass.
bass
Yeah.
is so
They're
good,
downplayed.
dude.
Yeah.
Bass is so good.
In the music scene, they're definitely downplayed. You got more of like the guitarist that's like
Mm.
the main face
Just because their
of the
fucking theme,
music.
like their pitch frequency is just so
It's
right in
right in your ear,
right
yeah.
in your ears.
But you take that bass out. Oh,
yeah,
man.
it's gonna sound so empty.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Flea's the exception though, man. He's like all over.
Yeah.
He's like in the movie scene. He's obviously an actor
You're
as well.
right. I forgot about that.
That's probably why he's got so much notoriety.
Dude, he's like in so many different circles. Hip hop, rock, jazz, maybe even more, dude. This guy fucking gets around.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
For
I was,
sure.
I was telling you, I was just watching a thing on the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and dude, they've always been in the funk environment. I think, if I'm not mistaken, their first demo or EP that they released when they were fully together, they had George Clinton come in and do like the production on it.
Shit, I gotta watch that.
That's fucking
Yeah.
dope, dude.
So I was like, wow.
I always forget the guitarist's name. What's his name?
John Frusciante.
Yeah, I could just never say his last name. That's why I know.
That's why.
So good.
Yeah.
So good, man. That guy is
Guitarist,
like,
yeah.
he's got his like, I know he tunes anyone that knows like instruments and stuff like that, but he tunes his B string like a little flat, and that's just the way he plays.
Really?
Yeah. And
You know-
it's cool. It's fucking dope.
That's an interesting, because I always heard the reason why, like, if people were trying to like cover Jimi Hendrix,
yeah.
the reason why you can never sound like Jimi Hendrix is because he tuned everything by ear.
Yeah.
So like you're always, a little bit flat, a little bit sharp, and so you'll never sound exactly like Jimmy. So
See, that's what's cool. Like the finding out those little things, and like that's why they're the artists that they are.
Yep.
yeah.
Just because they found their own sound and they made up their own sound, not trying to copy nobody.
Yep.
You don't need to copy everybody. You
No,
can be
you
your
don't.
own person.
Dua Lipa.
It's okay to be.
Oh, burn.
Zing.
But
What about you, Ray? What
sweet.
you been listening to?
This week I've been digging a new band. I cannot find where they're from, so let me know if you know where they're from. They're called the Happy Fits.
All right.
They just a new track dropped on my like release radar called Changes, and apparently I didn't realize that I had a favorited song by them before, but
That's always cool.
you're like, oh, I have heard them before,
Yeah.
yeah. But they got kind of a, I don't know if you call them like a pop indie kind of rock vibe. I was telling you guys, it kind of reminded me of like Raw Raw Riot or
Oh, all right.
or Young the Giant, or maybe the Wombats, something in that realm. And then another one I've been digging, their pop punk band on Fueled by Ramen. Kind of an easy core sort of sound. They're called Meet Me at the Altar. They just dropped an acoustic EP of like acoustic EP of other versions of their songs.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but super, the singer is great. Like she kind of gives me like Haley Williams vibes a little bit.
Alright.
You know, very powerful voice, but like super strong. But
That's pretty cool.
I'm digging that right now. So if you guys are digging it, or if you guys like check them out,
Check
please-
it out.
Please do so.
And
What about you, Ed?
I've been listening to 2 albums mainly. It was Evening with Silk Sonic. It's Mars Bruno and Bruno Mars. Yeah, you know, Mars.
Yeah.
I always think of like Mars Volta. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of John Frusciante, he played with Mars Volta for a little bit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think when he was on his hiatus from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Silk Sonic with was it Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, and it's just Pack or Pac. Which one is it?
I think
Pac.
it's Pac. I'll go with
Pack,
Pac.
right? Anderson
Yeah.
Pack.
It's like Tupac. Is it Tupac?
And but dude, the album's been so good. It's like a throwback to like Motown R&B
Ooh.
soul style,
Yeah.
funk too.
Yeah.
It's just a
Nice.
overall like legit good album. So check it out. Like music today, they're not writing music like that nowadays.
Definitely do.
And it's like a Motown spin with like modern production and lyrics, which is cool. That's like the cool part. Like he's like throwing in like Chuck E. Cheese, UFC. It's like all these, yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
So you guys both have been like on a funk kind of feel.
dude,
Yeah.
I just been
Feeling
like,
funky.
I wanted something different than like alternative shit.
Yeah.
I was just getting like so tired of the progressions, like just because I think I could say maybe me and you, Ray, listen to music a little bit different, just because of like than you, Rob, just because of instrumentals.
Oh, for sure.
So like I like to hear like oh shit, they're doing that and like this.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You,
Like
you take appreciation of like, oh, they didn't do that same chord change or
Yeah.
the same progression of 1-5-2 or whatever. You know.
So I know that could be a topic too. Just like how we all listen to music different. But anyways,
Yeah.
and then Weather Report. It's an old like 70s band.
Quick, really important. When you said weather
I
report,
know.
I was like, you're gonna give us the weather
I
report?
know. I was like, no, it's not really necessary, dude. Just
Yeah.
We don't do that.
It's about 68 right now.
But like it's funny because we were talking about bass and
Yeah.
the bass is in this band and it's bebop. It's like jazz fusion style.
Okay.
But
I like that phrase, by the way.
bebop.
Bebop,
Yeah. It is a cool little phrase. But anyways, this bass is Jaco Pastora. It's like
He just sounds like a bassist.
Dude.
Like, the
Yeah,
name, like,
that's a fucking name. That's
this
quite
guy,
a name.
not only a bassist, but he like did a lot of stuff. But man, this guy knows how to play. Like they pretty much call him like the greatest bass player ever alive.
ooh,
Wow.
really?
So check it out. And it's like it's not like pop music. It's not like anything you would think of. It's like jazz fusion, which is always a little different. So just give it a listen though.
Yeah.
It's like a good album to listen to, or a good band to listen to. Yeah.
Sweet. Does they have a recent release or is
No.
it-
It's just like I was just like watching like some documentary on like the bass, and then it talked about this guy, and I was like, oh cool, I wonder if I can check that out. And then after I heard him playing, I was like
That's pretty tight.
it's like ugh,
Dude, those jazz fusion bands, like, oh man.
fuck, they know how to play.
There's a band I like. I think they're called Go Go Penguin. And they're all like it's just jazz
Yeah.
fusion, no lyrics. But
Mm.
it reminds me of like kind of like I want to say like indie music, but like all jazz.
Yeah, it's
like,
weird, like-
it's super weird.
I think it's like that reminds me of like this band called Wolfpack. Have you heard of them?
Ooh, I think you've mentioned them before
Yeah,
to us.
Heck.
Wolfpack, yeah. They're kind of like jazz fusion, but like indie, like stylish, weird, like kind of. But yeah,
Interesting. How long have they been around?
they're a newer band, maybe
Okay.
not like new actually, maybe like been around like early 2000s. So still stuck in that.
In the grand scheme of things, it's
Yeah.
relatively new.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to this week. So
Sweet.
maybe next week I'll play some weather report.
All right.
Sick.
Tickle your guys' ears.
Ooh, you take all that stuff. Oh.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, check out any of these artists. Please give them some love. But without further ado, or from there, we will head into our break.
Let's do it. Let's hear some music.
Break time.
All right.
Into the Deftones news.
Let's do it. Something.
And which was brought up by our YouTube friend, Paul Romero. Thank you so
Yeah, what
much.
up, Paul?
Super cool. Shout out to you.
And let us know that people actually are listening.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We love it. And actually, any of our friends, whenever they hit us up or tell us something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I am thankful and grateful. It's
Yes.
super cool. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you guys got questions, drop them in the comments below. DM us however you want.
Yeah.
We'll answer your questions just like we're going to answer this one. This one was brought up by Paul, like we said, and it's about the Deftones split with bassist Sergio Vega.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was with the band for, was it 12 years?
Since 2009, I believe.
Since 2009, 4 studio albums. I do know that.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so this is like, we got writer's credit
Yep.
and friendships.
That's
I
what's
can
even
imagine.
crazier. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The relationships they built over all those years.
And yeah, so I guess here we'll get into it this way. The way I heard about it was, when I read about it, he said he woke up and he went to Spotify and he noticed that the photo on Spotify had changed to the old band photo with just the 4 members, and it excluded him. And that's when he knew, okay, this is over. He already felt a certain way through the pandemic. He helped them write and drop their last album, Ohms. And then now here he is, man, like freaking kicked out of the band. They didn't want to, I think they didn't want to hire him on as a full-time member.
Well, that's the other thing. Looming over the whole situation was that this entire time he was playing with them, he's only a contracted musician.
Right.
Wasn't in a full-fledged band member, right? Like,
Right.
the,
Yeah.
the entire time.
And they just kept dangling the carrot.
Yeah.
Album
Whoa,
after
that's-
album
that's
after
what pisses
album.
me off.
Ooh, dude. That's the thing, so for anybody, Sergio came in after Chi died. Chi was their former bassist, had battled, I forgot, an illness and ended up passing. And then, I think that's right.
I
But
think
then
he was in a car accident.
or was it?
and
And then
he
he was
just-
in the hospital though for a long time, right?
Right.
That's
yep.
what it was. Yeah, so he had been their bassist since the passing of Chi.
Yep.
And then basically, but had only been a contracted bassist. And I believe even from the beginning, like he had said that he wanted to be a full-time member, and all the other band members had said that, oh yeah, we'll have that discussion. We'll have the discussion. And then just 12 years go by and it never happened. So
I can see it maybe like at the first album, like, hey man, let's just give
it a feel. Let's see
give
what
it a
goes
feel,
on. Yeah.
like see how writing goes, and
Yep.
boom, cool. Because when you're writing an album, you're all locked in a cave for whatever a month, and you're gonna figure out everyone's differences.
Not that they're coming off of just losing their bass.
Exactly. You don't want to just be like, oh, cool, the fucking sign this other guy.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone could like fill those shoes per se, but I mean, definitely after like working with the first album, that first tour with that album.
Exactly.
How many fucking dates are in a tour? Like, dude, there's hundreds sometimes.
Yeah, hundreds, for sure.
So you're playing hundreds of shows with these people, traveling with them in a tour bus.
Yep.
Or flying out to different places. Dude, you're spending so much time together.
Hours, days, dude. Just like, man.
Not to mention that they specifically handpicked him because they were already friends with him.
Yeah.
They already built friendships with him when he was in Quicksand. They had like toured with him.
Yeah.
Toured with Quicksand, and that's how they developed the friendship. And that's what you would do. We've done that in the past with our band. We needed a bassist, matter of fact.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And we brought in Martin.
Yeah.
We brought in Martin. And the same thing too. It's like we chose a friend.
Yeah, that's what he was. So he was our
we
friend.
could have tried to fucking put out a, dropped a flyer at Guitar Center or something. But we chose a friend because we know him, we trust him, we like him.
Yeah.
And the dynamic, and I would think that's what they were doing. This is dynamic. It's like
They
we
just
don't
get
want
some Joe Schmo off the street. They got somebody they had chemistry with.
Yeah, the record label could have forced someone on them.
Yeah.
that's
They could
true.
have said, "Hey, here's so and so. He's already a studio bassist."
Yeah.
I just picture the scene from That Thing You Do.
Yeah, I know.
Where, like, the bassist quits.
Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman comes
Oh.
in and they're like, "Do you even know our songs?" And he's like,
Well, all right.
but yeah, dude. And not only that, like, I think when he came in, they had given him the instincts that they're like, oh, like, we're gonna talk about you becoming a full band member, you know?
Yeah.
And then just it never came, they never talked about it. So to go that long, like, and to just continue to, like you said, dangle the carrot of like being a full band member,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden just to kind of like cut things out of the blue, like, dude, I don't know. And not only that, right? The Deftones haven't released a comment on this yet, right?
No comment.
So we're
as
only
of yet,
getting-
as of today.
We're only getting
Sergio's side of it.
Sergio's side of it. Yeah.
But I mean,
It just like seems weird because if like we're playing together for so many years, it's just like, and we're not going out to like reach for another bassist at all on
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And if we're spending all the time like recording records, songs, it's just like you pretty much are a full member of the band.
yeah,
Dude,
especially if you're writing in the albums. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
for sure that. And then one of the things that I noticed going through the internet was he's had so many interviews on behalf of the band. Like he's been interviewed
Really?
representing the
yeah,
band.
representing the band.
What
So
the
many, dude.
heck?
I ran across so many videos, so many different magazines that were, interviewing him. I was blown away. He was absolutely treated like a full-time member, dude. As we looked at it, he was absolutely a full-time member.
And
It's
see,
crazy to me.
and there's a thing. So like, you can have contracted musicians. Like plenty of bands do it, where they have musicians that are only contracted members and do play with them for years
Yeah.
and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's communicated.
Yeah.
Like if that's all they ever wanted him to be was a contracted musician,
Yeah.
then that's what they should
Yeah.
have said from the beginning, or at least after that first album cycle, they're like, you know what, we love you, but we want to stay a 3-piece. We want to be that, and then you can come on if you want as
Yeah.
our contracted basis. For at least if that was communicated, that would make sense. But to dangle this idea of like, oh, we're eventually gonna have the conversation of making you a full-time member.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of like, like,
Because it makes you think they were probably, the only way to reason it out in your head is they were just thinking about their check.
Mm.
In my head, that's the only way I could think about. Like
Yeah.
they were just thinking about their piece of the albums that they're
I
getting,
wonder.
stuff like
I wonder.
what other reason? Unless it was that's the thing. They need to come out and make a comment. We just don't know.
They need to communicate, because
Yeah.
I've thought about it too. I was like, what are the reasonings? And the first
Yeah.
thing comes to my mind is that
Yeah.
they're like, oh, well, we want to keep majority of the songwriting credits and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then I thought, I was like, oh, well, what if like maybe they are still dealing with some grief of Chi dying or something
Yeah.
like that. And
That's what I was gonna put in there.
they didn't want to like have somebody else or they didn't want to feel like they were replacing him or something like that.
I get that. Maybe the first like couple of albums, but once you,
Or if, at least it communicate it.
yeah, exactly.
We're like, hey, like we're, we want you to be part of the band, but it feels a little awkward because of Chi. We don't want to feel like we're like have that conversation,
Definitely, I feel that that's the responsible thing to do, the adult thing to do. Have a conversation about it.
yeah.
Have a conversation.
Make sure they're fine with it. Boom, this is
Yeah.
how it's gonna be, and that's it.
Especially if they were feeling that. I would think that that's something they would feel earlier than later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're closer to the death, the passing of Chi, and you're thinking, okay, we do feel a certain way. No one can fill those shoes.
Yeah,
That's like totally fine, but just the dialogue, get a dialogue going with this guy. Let him
Yeah.
know you're not permanent. We will pay you for everything, that you're, that's due. Cause he does have writing credits for every
Yeah.
album,
Oh wow, really?
creative credits, like completely throughout the whole process,
Yeah.
dude. Like they're relying on him just the way they relied on Chi for
Ah.
yeah,
that music, contribution.
yeah.
And see, that's what's kind of cool. Like he has writing credits, so he's not fighting for money necessarily
Yeah.
because he's always going to get those. So he's
Yep.
really fighting for, or what he wanted was inclusion in the band.
Yeah, it
That's
sounds
what you
sadder.
said.
The more we
Yeah.
talk about
Yes,
it,
it
just
does.
sounds
That's what I
sadder.
mean. Like when I first thought about it, I was like, man, I was just thinking like, this guy just wants to be a part of the band.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like
Fuck.
if he's got all these credits and everything like that, like he just wants to be a part the group, the
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
You know,
that's the way it sounds.
it just sounds sad,
It
dude.
really does. It's like my cynical brain went to like thinking of a meme
Yeah.
where like we're on School of Rock where the kids were like, we're not in the band.
Aw,
Yeah.
Aw.
Dude, see what you guys did to Sergio Deftones.
I mean, but I mean, and then plus two, I wasn't able to find like, and I'm sure it's not out there, but the details of his contract.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
was he allowed to play with other bands? You know, since he was a contracted basis.
Oh yeah,
You
that would
know,
have really
In
sucked.
my understanding, yes, because
Okay,
when I
right.
looked at his writing credits, that's where I
Mm.
found which albums he contributed to. He had writing credits still on his band Quicksand
Okay.
throughout the last like maybe 5 years, and then even some other band. I can't recall
Okay,
the
alright,
name,
cool.
but it was someone else other than both Deftones and
Ah.
Quicksand.
You're right, because I think another detail was like I think when the pandemic hit and they started like canceling shows,
Yeah,
that's where he started. I think he said he started feeling the kind of the pull from them,
yep,
Mhm.
and he started focusing more on his own individual writing and then writing for Quicksand.
yeah.
So I
Okay,
think he
right.
was like focusing on writing for that.
Which, by the way, they're on a 2-year postpone already. That's where we're at right now for them. I think this
Oh,
year
really?
picks up. Yeah, but it was supposed to happen in 2020. Obviously, we know what happened.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen in 21 either. And then now here we are in 22, where the show is going to be. I think it's going to happen now. That tour is finally going to.
Ooh,
Kinda
so
start.
Yeah,
it's gonna be another bassist.
Ooh,
Interesting.
You know, that's an interesting thing to see going forward. Like, how does this color the relationship they're going to have with other bassists going forward? Like, are they going to have to just realize that they just need hired guns? Because no, I imagine they are not going to be able to bring in friends anymore.
sure.
If they possibly ruined a relationship with a friend
Yeah.
this way.
This is a good thought, man. Is this going to ruin the dynamic of the band completely? Will this
Yeah.
be that thread that unraveled and unraveled the whole sweater that was Deftones? You know?
Dude, as a musician, just thinking about the relationship between the drummer and the bass, like, you know, not only just like musically, but just you get to read that person, like
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
on stage, you could read it. And since they are such an integral part to music, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I know, I can feel where you're going. I can feel your vibe and shit like that. I know where we're going down.
Yeah.
Like, they already had that chemistry going.
Yeah, years
you know.
of development. It's just like, ooh.
12 years
Yep.
to be exact.
Dude, such a long time. It's just a long time to like not have an important conversation like
For
that.
real.
Hey,
And
bro, you're cool, but you're just not good enough, man. You know,
it's so
Dude,
sad. It
You know
really
what reminds me
is.
of was like when a couple is dating
Uh-huh.
and like one of them wants to get married. It's like, okay, we'll talk about it
yeah.
in 12 years. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. They never put a ring on his
Yeah.
finger. And it totally
Dude.
fucking sucks, dude. It
Mhm.
really does suck. I don't see any other way. Again, we don't have a comment from
Yeah.
Deftones just yet.
we'll have to pick it back up when we get the comments from
Yeah,
Deftones to
for
see
sure.
if it clarifies anything.
Reevaluate
Just
our
do a little
opinion.
update or something. Yeah.
Absolutely. But as of right now, this one-sidedness, I feel
He
that
did. He got
was
done
screwed.
done dirty.
It does. It does feel that way.
Feels
It
that
does.
way.
But we'll put a pin in it for right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
From there, we'll head to break.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for the question, Paul.
Thank you, man.
It
Appreciate
was a
it.
good one.
we'll go ahead and get back into the episode.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
We'll be talking about the Kanye doc, Netflix Kanye doc, Genius.
Mm-hmm.
We all finally had a chance to watch it.
Finally got it under my belt.
Yep.
It was a good one. I enjoyed it as a documentary.
Yeah.
I felt it was done very well.
Mhm.
I liked was it Cootie? He did a very
Yep.
good job at
Shout
cutting
out to
together, narrating over everything.
Yeah.
Very, very well done.
Years
Mhm.
and years and years.
That's
of
crazy
content.
how much fucking footage he's got, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know it made me think of like that's like I don't know if he just knew what he was doing or like
Yeah.
have the foresight to collect all that footage, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Because I think about things we've done like when we started, start the podcast or started bands. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known to like
Yeah.
film all of that or something,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Always feel that way, dude.
Oh, 411 videotape.
Oh,
Yeah. Always. Yeah. Like I do wish that somebody could have documented a lot of things that we've done. And
Yep.
seeing that made me feel like, dang, what a really cool opportunity and what a moment that he seized. It's fucking great. Kanye ended up becoming who he is.
yeah,
so,
dude.
I mean, like you said, how did he know? But it was like he put his money on the right horse.
But so overall, what do you guys think? You enjoyed it?
I did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. As a documentary in a whole, it was really good.
Mixed emotions, but like overall good.
Yeah, you're right. Like,
Like, yeah, you in the documentary, it's just like, what? Like, you know,
kind of gives you a different like insight because I think going into it, like you probably start with a one view of Kanye,
Yeah.
like or at least one view where like you either see him as just Kanye the musician or Kanye the what do they call it? The celebrity,
yeah,
good or bad, whatever you go into it with. But you start with this one. So like for me, like I went into it just knowing him, just knowing his music. You know,
Yeah.
like I knew obviously we know like his celebrity antics, but I don't follow. Like,
I don't pay attention.
Yeah, I
to
don't
it, man.
pay attention to the gossip too much. So I just knew him as the musician. So
Mhm.
that's the angle I came in at, and it kind of gave me an appreciation more
Yeah,
for like him as an artist. You know. But at the same time, still that lingering, like I've heard the gossip, and
yeah.
I've followed some of it, so like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you know, that's there, but I don't know, did it change or alter your initial views of Kanye?
It gave me knowledge that I did not know. You know, like from the beginning, I didn't know. Like I knew he made beats, but I didn't know like he pretty much wrote beats for like a lot of heavy hitters. You know,
Mhm.
and that in the beginning made me just appreciate like Kanye's creative ability like so much more.
Yeah.
You know, just and then when they were showing all the footage of his writing sessions, and I was like, that's dope.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more appreciation for when he just had to fight for his
yeah.
right, you know,
Yeah.
pretty much to get into the industry as an actual rapper. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy fought hard. Like, you know, and it was cool. It was all documented. And it was
Super
like,
cool.
what the heck?
Like he kept pushing for that dream, like because yeah, they kind of try to peg him into that box of like, oh no, you're a beat maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just, you know, stay in your lane type thing. But he's like, no, I'm a rapper. You know, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Even though you're right, like writing for heavy hitters like DMX, right?
Yeah, DMX,
and then
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Well, like that's where I learned like
Yeah.
he wrote H to the Izzo. Like
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. I was
Yeah.
like, that's
I
insane,
was like,
dude.
that's like a heavy hitting song.
Yeah.
And-
Sick.
And so it was just like if overall view, if I give an overall view, it was like freaking awesome. I really was like loving him in the beginning.
Mm.
In the middle, I was just like, all right, what are you doing here?
Where are we going with this?
Where are
Yeah.
we going? I kind of hate you now. And then by the end of it, I was just like sad, you know?
For Kanye or
Yeah, for Kanye.
Okay.
Just like, you know, just seeing the struggles he went through.
It's like you fought so hard to be here and this is where you end up. Is that
Kind
maybe,
of,
or?
but no, more like his mental state. Like I could just
Okay,
totally see
okay.
that with him. I was like,
Absolutely.
not sad, but like feel sorry for like the shit that's like he's like going through. He's putting himself through just as a human. Like just like ugh. That's just weird.
Yeah.
Because I could see like his energy and his creative mind, which is a very beautiful thing, but it felt like it's just not being guided by like the old Kanye mind. It's like this new thing, and I don't know if
Ooh.
it was like his ego just got too big, plus with his mental issues, like it just like
Yeah.
it was weird. It was weird. I was like, man, Kanye, go back to like Through the Wire, dog. Like college dropout. Not just
Yeah.
music sense, but like
I missed
all the
Kanye.
all the choices he was making right there. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
there-
that's
No,
just
good points. I kind of want to bring up some other, but we'll go into that part two.
There's a lot we're
Yeah.
gonna dive into. This is two topics, so yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit more.
But yeah, the early version, the early stuff was amazing, dude. Obviously, we mentioned his writing ability, his what I thought was funny, what I did want to chime in when you were talking about people not crediting him as a rapper. It did suck to see a lot of his peers
Yeah,
dial it back, even though he was already, I think at this point, where I'm coming from, this perspective is when he had just dropped his first album. And even then they were still like, oh
Question.
man, you're the best rapper producer.
They had
They
to throw
didn't
that
want to give him,
asterisk.
yeah. They didn't want to give him the full credit of being a rapper. Even later on, someone does the same thing to him again. And this is already when he's like kind of just
It's like
maybe
after
dropped a
college
few-
dropout. And
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And at this point, you know him as an artist. You know, you may, if you didn't know him before, you only know him as a rapper. You know,
Yeah.
maybe let's say. So for people to be like, well, you know, when he got in his accident,
yeah,
they were like, even I think MTV or whoever dropped the news about his accident, they were like, music producer Kanye West, and this was like, I'm telling you, he already dropped the album or two, and they're still calling him a music producer, and
like he was like he hadn't earned that in the eyes of the media or something like that.
yeah, and on his side, from his perspective, he was trying to drop that producer, or trying to just be like, which is kind of funny. He's like, man, just know me as a artist or a rapper, like the producing is great, but kind of like I felt he didn't want to be called a producer.
Yeah.
He really just wanted one certain title that he was going after. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of felt bad when people kept like referring to him as just a producer or like, slash rapper producer. It's kind of fucked up.
That's funny that you kind of hit on the idea that he was going after a certain title. Cause like he kind of went from that, he was a producer. I'm sure he was okay with that for a little bit, but he was like always like, I want to be a rapper. Yeah. And then he was striving to be a rapper or to be known as a rapper. And now we know, him, and like today he's striving to be that artist or the genius. That's what he wants to be known as. So it's an interesting thing that you bring that up, and that you can see him kind of like slowly want to go up the ladder in titles or something like that. Yeah, maybe that's kind of like what
I think, because possibly too, we know the music has changed so much over the years, but initially, kind of like Sergio Vega, we were talking about him a moment ago, where you do get writing credit, and he's let's say we were talking about the bassist and the guitarist. Guitarists get so much more like love, credibility and love, I think the
notoriety,
same things, notoriety. Yeah, that's a good word. I think similar things happen to producers and rappers, where the more the biggest notoriety goes towards the artist, the person that's the face of that music, So the producer kind of gets left in the wayside. You might even be convinced that the rapper is the one who created that fucking beat or that sound or produced the music altogether, when sometimes that's not the case. But for a new listener, they don't know the difference.
They just see the face and they're like, oh, that's who makes this music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's maybe why he kept trying to just beat that title and that stereotype to him, like, I'm not just that, because he wanted to be the face. He wanted to be the fucking artist, the real, like, the end all be all,
To your point on like the relating to the Deftones topic with Sergio, like that's something like he was working in the band for 12 years, writing and everything, and he's not known as part of the band. Yeah. So that's connecting that, like, if Kanye is working so hard, I'm making all these beats, and he's like, I can rap too, like I want to be known as that,
Yep, absolutely.
But one thing I really liked on it, I love like behind the scenes, making of, and of albums and stuff like that, because it shows you the creative process from people, and they do things that like maybe we do as musicians that you never thought that big time musicians do. Like when he was working on his flows, like you would hear him just like mumble through things.
I
like
love that.
Start with words and then just kind of mumble, but he has the rhythm. Because he knows what he wants to fill in. And I'm like, sometimes like I'm doing that where like I'm listening to like a beat and I'm like, no, like just trying to figure out like the run I'm trying to do. Or
dude, it felt so gratifying. Yeah. It felt like, oh my God, I thought I was so like horrible at it that
like I didn't know I was doing what I should be doing.
Yeah. Along the way, I kind of thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, because I haven't realized this whole verse yet, you know. But in reality, people are struggling the same exact fucking way. Even the genius of the world, geniuses of the world,
they're creating layers like that too.
So that was really cool to see that part of the process. And did make me feel a lot better. I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah. I like to see that.
It's cool. Yeah, because like, the melody is what matters the most. And then you just come up with the lyrical content as it goes. But it's cool seeing the whole process. Yeah. It broken down. Like, like that's what I love too, is when he was writing the music, or the beats, he'd be like, no, we need this right here, like these strings or that. And it's just like, it's cool.
And he did mastermind a lot of things that way. You can see he was crafting everything. He's like, okay, we're going to bring in this, and then we're going to hit it with that. And then samples, he already like knew kind of where everything was going to go. He already just envisioned the sound in his head.
It's kind of like that thing where like, you're at, like, you have a vision of what you want, maybe whatever this to be, but it takes like, you kind of have like a cloudy vision, Yeah. Like you know the general aspect of it, but like hearing things out loud or hearing certain parts helps you put everything into perspective, so you're kind of creating it as you go.
Yeah. So, and you know what? To pay tribute to the early artists who helped him with his producing and production. I think one of them was that OG Ice Gray, which we kind of talked about off the mic. But I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, he is one of the three or one of the few that were producing in the same type of way. They were all producing using certain samples. They were drawing from a certain perspective and sound that it's like let's say back when we were making music, here's a better example. Fuck what we did. It's like
nobody knows that.
The Seattle sound. So the Seattle sound taking like you got the Melvins, and you've got Nirvana who came after the Melvins, who were very inspired by the Melvins. Just changed it up. It's like, but that was the Seattle sound. It was all just sort of like this grungy fucking like, I don't know what type of tuning it was, but same rules were applying to the production for what Kanye was doing. He was working with a group of people that were all a similar sound. They were developing their own type of sound.
They were developing the Chi-Town sound.
Yes.
You know?
You're
similar
right.
to like the Seattle sound, similar to freaking, what did Prince do with
the Memphis, Minnesota.
Yeah, is it Minnesota sound or Minnesota? What do they call it?
I don't know.
It's something like
I want to call it like the Minnesota funk, but it's not like.
It's got like a phrase that they call it too. We'll come back to that later if it does ring a bell. Back to the subject. These certain sounds,
like
they're
kind of developing that sound. Like even though you're right, like the Melvins, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, they all sound different. But they're pulling together to create what is this sound.
The genre,
absolutely.
And the same thing with like Kanye and like what did you say?
OG Ice Gray.
And even like
a few other artists too.
Like what they show like Mos Def and Common. You know, like they all pull from that kind of same era, and they just have their own stamp on it. You know,
right? Which is cool. So just to kind of credit those other people. That's why I want to bring that up, just because I know sometimes people confuse things, and like we mentioned with the new listener, their ears, they don't think about this. They don't. They don't. You know, they just think like, oh yeah, he's genius. But there's so many things so many aspects that you don't see. Absolutely.
So many inspirations.
So because I don't want it to seem like he is completely genius and invented this out of the blue without giving people their credit. You know.
But it was a cool like peek behind the curtain for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from there we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with part 2, or maybe we'll take a few more jabs at Kanye. I don't know. Stay tuned.
Bob and weave.
Let's get back into the episode. Finish it out with our Kanye documentary Jeen-Yuhs Part 2.
Good
idea. So we talked about a little bit of how it kind of gave us a peek behind the curtain, maybe a new look on how Kanye's struggle coming up as an artist and things like that. But there was, and most people saw it, kind of did it very publicly, but kind of a shift in his personality.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you kind of saw. I also a shift in the documentary a little bit. I don't know if Cootie did this intentionally, but kind of saw where things started to change for Kanye. It kind of reminded me, especially started around that scene where Cootie goes back in to, I think he's filming Kanye at, was it the Grammys or something, where he's talking to him and interviewing him, and Kanye kept calling him a different name. Like he's like, oh, this is this dude, and he's like, nah, man, it's Cootie. Like, and Kanye was like obviously pretty drunk at the time.
Kept calling him Chico, I think.
Something like that.
Which is his right hand man. That's Cootie's partner.
Real quick, this documentary was produced by Cootie and Chico.
Both of them.
All right, cool.
And they had been there with Kanye basically from the beginning. And everything. But I think you brought up a point where I think where Cootie says something about Kanye's kind of personality. Or no, it was a quote from him, right?
It was a quote from him. Kanye pretty much told Cootie that Kanye is now just an act. He's just acting like this now. Kind of like a Andy Kaufman thing, I guess you would say. Like he's just an act now. And that's why
it's a persona.
Exactly. And that's why he's acting and doing things the way he's doing it.
Was that at the same point where he forgot his name and then he was kind of rehashing?
I think so. I think it wasn't
the same one.
That might have happened a little bit before. I'm trying to put the pieces together too. I do remember there's a few times where Cootie left and stopped working with Kanye, and then it was a few years, and then boom, he comes back in the scene. He did that a few times.
Yeah, he did that a few times.
You can see that obviously in the documentary, but
Kanye would just like, we don't need you right now.
it might have been one of the first times that he came back. I don't remember, but
I think so. I think you're right. It was like the first time he came back, you know.
I remember the first time he came back, actually, he was dissing Cootie. He didn't even like want to like look at him or even like talk to him. He came by way of like someone else even.
Yep.
Cootie was invited through a different party, different artists altogether. It might have been Common. Might have been that Common album where Cootie was following Common, and he brought him to like follow him for his new tour and record that he was, dropping. And then Kanye was kind of like treating him a little different. He even told him at some point, shut the camera off. And he was like, that's the first time Kanye ever told me to shut the camera off. It might have been just after that. I can't fucking remember though. I'm trying to put it together.
It's just as chaotic as Kanye's been recently.
Yeah.
But like so there was an obvious like change and shift.
Yeah.
And there's two things like I when he said that comment, like the idea of like Kanye is just a kind of an act, a personality, a persona, whatever stage thing. Like I was wondering, like kind of like set the ball rolling, like, so is everything he's doing now, like, is that just part of the Kanye like act? Yeah. I mean, because it does, if he's really doing it, like either he's really leaning into it, like the Andy Kaufman thing, where like everything is the act. Yeah. Because it doesn't. Some of the things, at least to me, seem like, okay, no, this is just the real Kanye,
Yeah. Because what's an act? I mean, I think that I feel personally like in my life when I do anything, I want to say it's an act, but forgive me, but I think like we all have something that we want to show the world at all times. You know? So in a sense, I've kind of thought about this before, and I try breaking it down, but I don't have a firm like concept over it. But I feel like as human beings, we're always in a constant act, So you see one person and you're like, okay, here's the persona that I am with you, or you jump to, you're at work and you've got like, work ethic and things, it's all just, you can call it an act or not, that's why I haven't defined it in my own head, but I do feel like we're always like putting on a show, we have something that we have to like live up to a certain, to a certain point.
I can kind of get what you're saying, where like the idea of like, the real you, cause like, I mean, for the most, like, I forgot who said it, but the idea was like, I think they said we live most of our lives in our head, because most of the time, like, we're alone with our own thoughts. You know, there's our interactions with other people are only a small percentage of our day. Most of it, and that's probably maybe like the real us. But then we kind of manicure the way we are, like you're right, for work or for friends, or in a certain setting, with family, and then like, is that an act? Right? And then maybe like go into another extreme where like if you're a performer, like even like this podcast, like the way we talk, is it like 100% of how we talk, in our regular life? It's like, yeah, it's mostly there, but we're maybe dressing it up a little bit for to be a little entertaining, to be a little more able to follow, type thing. And so like how much of that is an act, and especially when you get on the stage like Kanye, where like you have to be entertaining 100%, like you are your brand, you are what you're selling. So where does that line draw of like where you're a personality and where you're the real you know?
So that's why I'm thinking that there really is no, I don't want to say there is no act for him. I think he is just himself, but at the same time, I think if he was being methodical about it, like I plan to sound crazy, I don't think that anybody would want to do that. I don't think you would seek out to do that unless you feel like it's part of your brand that you're trying to build. And this is like, in the end, I know how to heal that. Yeah. And I already have the ending written, you know. I don't know though. I mean, along the way, I just wouldn't want to taint my, let's be real. I think he's so egotistical that he wants to be loved by every person, So you wouldn't want to taint that along the way by acting a certain way that now kind of secludes you, you put yourself on an island, because other people are like, I can't vibe with that. I don't have the same train of thought. I'm not where you are right now. So you going off on some tangent rant about something that literally makes no sense I'm out of here. You know, people
Yeah.
drop off like flies. They're like, okay, music, I'll listen to it, but I'm going to separate music from artists
Yeah, because if you want
or
that love,
human.
if you want that love from everybody, like you're not gonna do something to like possibly push that
Yeah.
away. You know.
See, I don't think he's for me, I don't think it's that. I don't think he ever wanted love. I think he just has a God complex and he just wants everyone to know him and know his name and like just recognition.
But what about the tainting the God name though? Because if you're
I
looking
think
at like God, like God's crazy.
Well, I think
We're being armchair therapists right now.
I know.
For sure.
So maybe it's not like I just think he's like, he doesn't care how it happens. He just wants everyone to know him and know who he is. And I don't know. That's the only I can think of, you know.
It's a possibility that it's a possibility it's a mixture, it's a cocktail of all these things, because not only that, throw all these things in, but to throw in the mix, like we can see in the documentary, like a lot, like his personality did change a lot after his mom passed.
Yeah, for sure.
It seemed like
It's evident.
he was in a dark place, and he, whatever happened while he was in the dark place, he came out of it with a new kind of philosophy outlook.
Yeah.
And you could see like a lot of things changed in there, and I'm sure it's a lot of this. Maybe like you're right, like he's egotistical because he believes that his art is the best, but at the same time, like he battles some insecurities, and then he's also at the same time trying to gain like critical acclamation, but then at the same time dealing with his feelings of like losing his mother, and then like all this, I mean, would drive anybody crazy. So the idea of all these things going on at the same time like makes the person that is
makes the perfect bomb ready to explode,
I think it's interesting that out of all the things his mom did, because I do have a note that I want to mention about his mother, but to contribute to what you just said, it's funny that the one thing he didn't take from her was her mention of him not being egotistical. She made mention early when before he got signed, she had told him some really cool little philosophical like thing, and she told him, hey, I want you to remember this: a giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. And he was like, all right, they're all like kind of giggling and laughing about it.
I was hella confused on that one. I was like, what is she trying to say?
It took a moment for her to even get to follow it up, because they were kind of like acting like they knew, but they didn't. And he was like, okay. And then she's like, you get it, right? Like he looks in the mirror, but he doesn't see how big he is. The giant is a giant to everyone else, and everyone else notices that they're a giant, but the giant looks in the mirror and doesn't notice that at all.
So he can only see what's in the mirror.
Yeah, it just sees himself and doesn't see himself as a giant. So she's like telling him, be the giant, be known by everybody, but do not know that you are a giant, So that was the one piece that he didn't take from her.
Yeah.
But I feel like to contribute to what she did, man, this is one of the things that I absolutely believe in, dude. And it kind of confirmed it for me and just like solidified it. Believe in your children. That's great parenting.
Yeah, for sure.
She was so like, dude, she fucking believed in him the most, dude.
Yes, dude.
The idea that she knew lyrics to older songs that he wrote when he was a little younger, she was reciting them because she knew, that was a good positive message.
Oh, you're
and she was
right.
rapping it back to him.
Yeah.
He had trouble remembering the lyrics because of how old the song was.
But she remembered it.
And she fucking remembered it, dude. That's a true fucking supporter, true mother, true parent. And that's what happens when you pay attention to your kids, you guys. Like, this is like, that's why I exist now, Fuck everything. Fuck this podcast. Fuck everything else I've ever done. Like, I live to be the best parent to my children, and that's it. I've learned that this is like it's not my only job, but that's probably the most important job that I have left on this earth.
That's a good way to put it. Like, it's not my only, but it's the most important.
It's the most important.
Especially to look at it that way, because you have a lot of other things, but at the same time, you're like, when you put things in perspective and priorities straight, like where you're like, like being a parent, that's your top priority. That's a great way to put it right there.
And in that moment, I didn't even see Kanye as a star. And that like whole scene, she was the star to me.
Yeah.
When I was watching that unfold, I thought, oh my God. I looked at Mo and I was like, you see, this is exactly what happens when you pay attention to your kids. And then the next day at work, I went to the office and I was telling my friends there too. I was like, yo, I finally watched it. I'll tell you what I took away. Here's what I took away. The mom. And this
Yep.
is, and I told him the same fucking thing that I'm
Yeah.
telling you guys right now. That's what happens when you pay attention to, because that's like really, I mean, man, we live in a world where people are, kids are neglected and things are neglected, and just, you feel like you're there, you feel like you're a parent, you feel like you're in it, but you're not listening, or you're not really listening the way she was,
Yeah.
or that's like the extent that I would like to listen to, where you're like, I remember things that you said. I remember the visions that you had. I remember everything,
Yep.
and that's the true support, and that was beautiful. Anyways,
Yeah.
it did
No,
make me
that's,
feel like that was that was a big push for him.
The documentary showed how much of an integral part of Kanye was his mother,
Absolutely.
like such an important big. I think the biggest part.
So
That's it.
losing her, we can
Yeah.
only imagine now.
Yeah.
Back to that, tying that back in, how much of an impact that played on his life, his career, everything all together, dude.
Yeah.
And
She was the biggest cheerleader he had in his corner. Like,
Yeah.
mentor,
Absolutely.
everything.
she was running the show, like helped run the show in the end too.
She was the freaking one
Huge
that freaking held the string down from the balloon going so high,
Oh, that's
And
a good
like,
point.
Yeah,
when she passed, it was like there was no one there to
To anchor him down.
anchor him down, check him,
true.
put him in his place. So
And that's what he's missing
Yeah.
right now. I don't feel that. Look, my takeaway in the end, like I know we're already in the second part, so now we can reveal these thoughts. The mental instability, man, like that's normal. You
Yeah.
know, people having mental issues is completely normal. And for anyone that's listening,
His is just on a scale where everybody sees it. I mean, he puts it out there partly, but at the same time,
Absolutely.
he's just on a bigger stage where everybody can see what
Yeah.
he's struggling
which
with.
is the reason why I think that he absolutely needs to be not controlled, but he needs some support in the sense that they don't allow him to pick up a microphone when he really doesn't need to, like if he's going to go out there and just fucking grab a mic to start saying some random shit and he's highly medicated, that's not fair. I
Yeah.
felt really, really bad at the end.
dude,
In the end, I felt fucking like so sad, and I felt like I shouldn't be watching this. It was like watching Faces of Death. It was something that
Yeah.
was so like taboo.
Personal.
And I thought, this is bad. I don't want to I'm not going to laugh about it. I'm not going to praise it. I'm not going to say that, well, that's the genius of it. No, those are like private moments
yeah,
that I feel I probably shouldn't have seen. That's kind of how it felt to me, which is the reason why I felt Cootie was doing the responsible thing of
Yeah.
like,
Shutting
turning off the
yeah.
camera.
yeah.
this is not fair to him. I don't want him to only be known by this, because again, these are private moments to me.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm going to fail in my head or have a moment where I'm psychotically fucking unstable, I don't want the world to know this.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that he did that. Like that was like, I was like, me and Mercer watching it, I'm like, that's good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
He was
it's
like a friend,
because
Yeah.
once he started going down the rabbit hole and getting lost in his head, it was just like it was sad to
Yeah.
see, and you didn't want to see it, and so it was like Cootie did perfect thing, just shut the camera off. And,
Yeah. Quite a
Oh.
few times.
yeah, exactly.
It'd be interesting to see. Now that this is out, if it would be really cool to see Kanye's reaction to it, to see all this put together. See like what his opinions of like seeing himself in a different light. Seeing maybe how he's acting.
Yeah.
And maybe because maybe there's also some parts that he doesn't like. Maybe he doesn't realize how much he's been
Yeah.
grieving since he lost his mom or something like that.
I was actually thinking about him watching it after, but from a slightly different perspective. Still on sort of like the defense of what I was talking about, where
Yeah,
I thought, what if he sees this later and he's disappointed that we all videotaped him or that we kept watching while he was spiraling out of control, and these, again, vulnerable private moments, what if finally he gets stable and he looks back and he's like, why did you guys let me fucking pick up that mic at the, this award show? Or why weren't you there? Why did you let
Why
me
did you
out?
let me run for
I
president?
understand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
too. Like, I understand that I am so like headstrong and I'm saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I've got some credibility because I've done a lot of good,
Yeah.
I've made a lot of fucking music that other people were incapable of doing, and I'm one person. So from producing to writing to rapping, everything, it does sound like, there's probably method to this madness.
yeah,
But at the same time, for someone that's so close, they should have been like, just, stay here. Let's get him in the car and get him out of here right
Yeah.
away, because who knows what's going to happen. And that's what, again, what if he looks back and just thinks later on, like, what happened? Like, how come you guys didn't fucking look out for me a little more, you know?
Yeah. It will be interesting to see like his reaction to either if he does watch it, and you're right, to like it also depends on where his, his opinion of the documentary lands. Like if he thinks, right, like if he actually sees him as in a different light, or if he just looks at it like, that's just one person's opinion. Yeah. I think this, it really depends on where his opinion lands. But I don't know. We'll see. Those are our thoughts on it. We probably could have a part 3.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
maybe we should have one for each part.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That would have been interesting to have.
Yeah. Next time we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
maybe an episode for each part.
Yeah. But let us know what you guys thought. If you guys watched it, give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. Give us your opinions on our opinions.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting little
opinions
inception.
Opinions.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, we could go on more. Maybe we'll have some bonus content. We'll have Patreon for that.
There you go.
Anybody who wants that.
OnlyFans.
Ooh.
We'll talk about it in the nude.
Yeah. Every time we drop a fact, we take off an article of clothing.
They're like, oh, it was a hot day and there wasn't a...
Yeah. You don't want to see that.
But thank you for tuning in, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. But until next time, everybody, take care.
Peace.
Later. Oh shit, you're still here? You can watch video here, the other one here, and I think the like button's somewhere around here. You know what to do. Bye.